My ex reached out to me after her perfect husband cheated on her. Now, her toxic friends are attacking me for not taking her back. She recently got divorced. Her husband left her for a 23-year-old coworker. She's 36, I'm 38, and her ex-husband is 43. They have 3 daughters, ages 8, 4, and 3. She messaged me on Facebook, saying she couldn't breathe when she saw my face again, that I looked amazing while she had aged. She found me through our college alumni group after I joined. I decided to respond, pretending to be friendly, but as soon as I did, all the old pain rushed back. I had moved on. It took me 3 years to get over her betrayal and rebuild my life. I still remember how she once made a bet with her friends that she would never date me. One of them told me that. Those same friends kept telling her I was weak, not good enough, that she needed a real man. It was all so weird, like they were trying to make her doubt herself. I even warned her back then. Stop telling them everything about us. If you tell them you're sad, they'll use it against you. She just cried, saying she didn't know who to trust. Well, in the end, she trusted them more than me, and ended up cheating on me with 10 different guys, including some of our mutual friends. This was in the mid-2000s. She later claimed she was drunk. She tried to fix things, but the trust was gone. I gave it a shot, but I just couldn't live with it, so I walked away. It was hard. I missed her hugs, her smile. I only truly let go when I ran into a mutual friend at a bookstore. We talked about the past, and when I asked about her, he told me she moved on immediately. She never asked about me, never missed me. She started dating multiple guys, including one of our friends. All my friends became her friends. That was the saddest part. These people were originally my friends. Then she came along, and I realized they weren't worth keeping. None of them told me the truth about what she did, but they had no problem telling her awful things about me. She got married, which she mentioned in her message. She told me she had seen me once during the pandemic. She works a high-paying job, and said she was grateful for that during such a tough time. I told her I was unemployed and just drifting, hoping it would make her lose interest. Then she told me her husband had cheated on her. It shattered her. She couldn't stop crying. This happened in 2019. She tried to save the marriage, but then he told her his mistress was pregnant. They got divorced quickly. She wanted full custody of the kids, but he still sees them sometimes. He said that was the least he could do after the pain he caused her. She admitted that her sister and friends had chosen him for her. They completely approved of him. He wasn't attractive or charming, but he was stable, family-oriented, and took care of his mother. She said he was the man she chose over me. Then she asked about my life. Was I married? Did I have kids? I said no. She sent me old photos of us, as if she was trying to bring back the past. That's when I got angry. How could she possibly think everything was fine? Did she forget how our relationship ended? She chose her friends over me. She abandoned me. She never cared about me, and now she suddenly decides to reach out just because she's lost her looks and her husband left her? I kept my cool. She asked if she could hear my voice. Can I call you? I didn't know if I should, but I agreed. As soon as I said, hello, she burst into tears. I can't believe this, she sobbed. I missed your voice so much. I can't breathe. The tears were real. I asked, are you okay? Don't cry. She told me she couldn't stop thinking about me, about how I used to smile at her, how spontaneous I was, how I made her laugh. She even remembered the scent of my cologne. I kept it together while we talked. I felt so many things at once. Happiness at hearing the woman I once loved, sadness because of the way she had stabbed me in the back. She asked to meet, just once. I hung up. Then she texted me, I'm sorry, I replied. Sorry for what? She couldn't answer. She just wrote, I can explain in person. It'll be easier that way. I told her it wouldn't be a good idea to meet in person because of the pandemic and restrictions. She pushed back. No, we can eat outside. I need to see you, or I won't be able to handle this. Then she admitted she had taken the wrong advice. She said she cried for days, unsure of what to do. She told me she wanted to be with me back then, but everyone kept telling her I'd never amount to anything, that I was just a pretty boy, and guys like that always cheat. So, according to her, she cheated on me on purpose. She did it at a party, with multiple people, because she knew I wouldn't leave otherwise. She told me her friends and family never liked me, and she couldn't pick me over them. I didn't want to hear it. She had already been through so much. Her husband left her. She had no one, and so on. So I just said, please don't bring this up. It hurts me too. I don't want to be angry. It's in the past. Just focus on your kids. Maybe some single dad will come along, and you can build a new family together or something. I asked my aunts and cousins for advice, and they were brutal. She's the devil. A wolf in sheep's clothing. Don't waste your time. That woman never loved you. You're too kind, and she knows it. Why are you even feeling sorry for her? One of my aunts said something that really hit me. Ask yourself, when you were hurting, was she there for you? If the roles were reversed, would she do the same for you? I answered immediately, no. She wouldn't. Then, out of nowhere, some of her friends messaged me. They told me that if I really loved her, I would give her a second chance. That made me furious. Second chance? What about me? She broke me. She left me with nothing. And now they were trying to guilt-trip me. That was insane. I replied, I never wanted to hurt her, but she left me for another man. How would you feel? One of them responded, I understand, but just because she has 3 kids now doesn't mean she can't love you. She loved you before. Forgive her and move on. You're not in your 20s anymore. And guess who sent that message? The same friend who had convinced her I wasn't good enough and introduced her to the guy she later married. That's when it hit me. If she really loved me, why was she still friends with these people? Why was she letting them message me on her behalf? 2 days later, her dad messaged me. My daughter is suffering. She needs closure. Can you at least help her with that? I was shocked. Closure? Why was it my job to give her closure? When I needed closure, she didn't lift a damn finger to help me. She left me with nothing. And now this guy, who hated me back in the day and loved the man she married, had the nerve to demand that I come back into her life? The same man who cheated on her? It was absurd. I was so grateful to my aunts and cousins for helping me see things clearly. Her father was trying to guilt me into taking her back, after she had been used and discarded with 3 kids. That made me angry. How the hell was I supposed to deal with this? Update. I fought with myself for a long time, but ended up meeting her anyway. I had already made the mistake of responding to her Facebook message. I had already let her call me. This was just the next step. When I got there, she was already waiting outside the restaurant. She saw me first. I didn't recognize her at first. Then I noticed she had her face buried in her hands, crying. It was her. She ran up and hugged me. I didn't hug her back. My arms just hung at my sides. She was putting on a show. People were watching. An elderly woman passing by asked, Are you two married? Did you just get back from deployment? I shook my head. No, just an old college friend. The old woman chuckled. Well, she sure is emotional for an old friend. You two look cute together. That's when I knew this was a bad idea. She was way too emotional, and people were watching us like we were some long-lost lovers finally reuniting. We ordered food and ate outside. She looked older, a little heavier. She told me, "I miss you." She showed me pictures of her daughters, telling me how much they looked like their father. She was so happy. I wasn't. She was acting like everything was fine. I just played along. After we ate, I suggested we talk privately. I told her, "Let's go to that park, sit on a bench, and talk." Once we were there, I got straight to the point. "So why did you want to meet?" She didn't hesitate. "I miss you." She begged me to just listen and not be angry. She admitted she was bad at explaining things. She told me she ruined everything. She said she'd understand if I never wanted anything to do with her again, but then she added, "If I hadn't gone through all of this, if I hadn't been with those men, if I hadn't married the guy, if he hadn't left me, I never would have realized that you were the one." That's when I snapped. At first, I tried to stay calm. "Let's be clear," I said. "You cheated on me. You're still friends with the people who trashed me. The same people you kissed at parties. The same friends you slept around with. You left me. The person who loved you more than anyone, the person who trusted you completely, the person who had no one else, and you left me with nothing. You did that." Then I asked her, "Are you still in touch with those friends?" She started crying. She nodded. "Yes." That's when I lost it. "You betrayed me. And now, after your husband cheated on you and left you for someone younger, you want me back?" She sobbed. "I understand. Do you even realize how insulting this is? Like you're offering me something special." What the hell do I even get out of this? What do you have that younger women don't? You already cheated on me. You already abandoned me. You lied, betrayed me, and you're still friends with the people who encouraged it. You listened to them instead of me. And then you had kids with another man. I could see it hitting her. You never cared about me. You just used me. And now you think I'm some idiot who's just going to take you back." She started hyperventilating, crying harder than before. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I'm sorry. I hate myself for what I did to you. That's when I yelled, "Bullshit! You forgot about me. I know you did. I know you moved on immediately. People told me." Her eyes widened. "Who told you?" "It doesn't matter. You were dating guys right after you left me." Meanwhile, I was blaming myself, thinking it was my fault. "And you never even asked about me. 3 years later, someone showed you a video of us, and you didn't shed a single tear." I knew exactly what would happen next. I'm not telling you this to hurt you, because I know you. You're going to run back to your sisters, your friends, and they're going to tell you the same thing they always did, that I was never right for you, that you deserve better. Then I told her the truth. I loved you. I wanted you to be the mother of my children. If you had married me, I would still be with you today. She whispered, "I know." Her phone rang. It was her sister. She had to go watch her kids before work. We walked to her car. Before she got in, she tried to hug me again. I said no, but she insisted. I just let her hug me. She started breathing in my scent, saying how much she missed my cologne and how I smelled. Shortly after I got home, before bed, she sent me a message. "I won't stop until I win you back. You asked what's so special about me? Nothing. You were right. I gave myself to others, but never felt with them what I feel with you. I fought with myself, listened to the wrong advice, and didn't choose myself. And for that, I paid a high price and suffered. You deserve a fresh start with a young woman. You deserve that. The only thing I can do is try to prove myself to you, and I won't fight for you. I hope you forgive me, but if you don't, I understand." That was her last message, and I didn't reply. Update 2. I stopped talking to my ex after our meeting. She kept sending me messages on Facebook, but then she stopped. Then, right before Christmas, she sent me a message with text and voice on Facebook, asking what I planned to do for Christmas and New Year's. She sent some quote about forgiveness and life lessons, a story about someone who matured too late, about how everyone learns at their own pace, some faster, some slower. Obviously, she was talking about herself, implying that she didn't realize the pain she caused until she lost everything. And now she was feeling the pain of the one she hurt and finally understood that the person was me. Either way, I didn't reply. After Christmas, her friend messaged me on Facebook, calling me a pathetic excuse for a man. She said I was a coward who didn't deserve my ex, and that I was weak for not being able to forgive and move on. She added that a real man would never do what I did and hurt a woman like that. She claimed I was showing my true, cruel nature. Then she said, if you really loved her, you would have given her a second chance. Everything you said about loving her years ago was a lie because now that she's a single mom and not as attractive, you're proving that you were shallow and only loved her for her beauty. She really pissed me off, so I decided to respond to her friend and wrote, "And what do I get out of this?" She replied, "What do you mean?" I said, "She cheated on me. She left me. She never thought about me again. Then she had kids with another man, the same man you introduced her to. And you were the one who told her years ago that I wasn't good enough for her." Her friend didn't even try to argue and just wrote, "You know what? This conversation is over. You lost her. It's 2025. Women deserve better." She had nothing to say when I reminded her that she was the one who set my ex up with the husband who ended up cheating on her. Her friends are toxic. I still feel sorry for her. She was naive and indecisive, and it's sad when women don't know how to think for themselves, like my ex. I shut down her friend by pointing out that she personally introduced my ex to her ex-husband and approved of him, and he turned out to be a scumbag who cheated on her and left her. But instead of feeling guilty, she attacks me and calls me worthless. I haven't seen this woman in 15 years, and somehow, this is my fault? It's just a pathetic attempt to shift blame and take the responsibility off herself. I blocked her friend too, but she kept finding ways around the block, leaving messages that I just ignored. The funniest part? I still haven't responded to my ex. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention how her friend said to me, "How could you? This will be her first New Year's alone." Like, what the hell? There's a pandemic going on, gatherings are banned, and she's trying to guilt trip me? Seriously? I hope you all take something away from this. Always avoid women with controlling, manipulative, overbearing friends. I feel like this friend was writing me these accusations just so she could go back to my ex and report that she put me in my place, just to save face. Because once upon a time, she was the one who convinced my ex to leave me and then set her up with the guy she thought was better. Now she's trying to remove responsibility from herself and justify her past bad advice. When I met my ex, she was already setting up a backup plan. Back then, I didn't realize it, but she was always telling me her boyfriend was an idiot, cold to her, making him look like a fool and making me hate him. Then, when I was ready, she switched to me. After that, she told all her friends and family that he treated her badly. She did the exact same thing to me as she did to her ex before me. I ran into her ex-boyfriend by accident, and he turned out to be an incredibly nice guy. He had no idea she had been spreading these things about him. He said it was hard to believe. I said, "No, it's true," and showed him an old message she had sent me where she called him a pathetic drunk who never gave her attention. He was shocked. And so was I when he said he knew about me. But she told him I was just a friend from college. To be honest, the only reason I haven't blocked my ex on social media is so she can watch my life and suffer because of it. She sees young women commenting on my posts. She saw pictures of my ex-girlfriends, and I know it gets to her. I never replied or reacted to her messages or voice notes. When I saw her in person, she was no longer the bright, glowing girl I remembered. She kept telling me how handsome I was, and how she felt ugly standing next to me. She no longer got the attention and admiration from men that she was used to. I think that's karma. I was always gentle with her. I never yelled at her. I didn't respond to a single one of her messages or calls. She probably cried her eyes out when I responded to my former colleague, a gorgeous 27-year-old, who messaged me, "Hey, handsome. Long time no see, old man." She told me she was moving back to California and wanted to meet up. I'm sure my ex saw my reply and probably felt jealous or hurt. She probably did what she always does, ran to her sisters or friends to complain. I feel sorry for her. She's indecisive. I'm a good person, and I don't hold a grudge against her. Other men might have wanted revenge, hated her, or treated her cruelly, but I'm not like that. Because I've lived through it and left it all behind. All that's left are painful memories. I remember in college, if we had disagreements and I was upset, she'd immediately run to her sisters or friends, and they would tell her what she wanted to hear. "It's not your fault. He's the problem." She couldn't handle guilt or being wrong. I remember her telling me that her sister advised her to give me an ultimatum and make a list of demands. The strangest thing was that when we were dating, she once cried and told me that her friends thought I was weak and were sure I'd cheat on her. Why? Because they didn't like the way I shook hands with a girl. Because I was a good-looking guy and played on the football team. She really struggled with that. She doubted herself and couldn't make a decision on her own. Her friends knew that she had been cheated on in high school and probably used that to manipulate her. All of her friends were unattractive. She was the pretty one in the group. They either had ugly boyfriends or were single. Even her ex-husband wasn't charismatic or good-looking. I don't want to sound superficial, but my friend once told me, "Toxic women are shallow themselves. If they can't get a successful, attractive man, they start resenting their friends who do." The funniest part? They called me a pretty boy and said I'd cheat, but the guy they approved of was the one who actually cheated.